let's football it though. Like you had an exclusive with Dak Prescott, and we're just complaining about Jerry, which I do enjoy doing, but I'm tired.
Yeah, I mean, and I've talked about, throughout the offseason, kind of teased you about how Dak is, taking care of his entire body, and certainly he recognizes that he needs to run more to avoid those type of things and do things with his sprinting. I mean, he's never going to be the fastest, but if you run more and you run regularly, it may avoid pulling a hamstring when you do have to drop the hammer in the middle of a
Okay.
game, in the eighth game of the season, when you haven't run it all. Just like we talked about running before, you got to stretch, man. Just you got to stretch,
Yeah,
man, before
dynamic
you drop
stretching.
the
Yeah.
hammer.
You don't use those
You
muscles,
know,
they go away. I promise.
yeah. So, and he talked about your shoddy. He talked about how Maris Leofau's fiance was the third overall pick from Notre Dame, and how they celebrated him, and how why he wasn't there because he was at the draft, and they did a whole thing in the offseason program celebrating him and watching the draft, and did a whole thing celebrating Maris Leofau's fiance being the third overall pick of the Washington Mystics. Then Maris came back, they celebrated him again, and his fiance, and just little things like that. Even with going to OSA's foundation type stuff, he talked about how it's important. As Dak was a big Mike McCarthy guy. He liked Mike, no doubt. But he said, yeah, maybe it's time for a cultural change, leadership change. When I got here, I was a rookie, so I just fell in line, and we fell in line with what they were doing. Now we get to decide how we do this. And this it's a new crop of the leaders who get to, change the culture and decide how they do this.
Now, you tell me if I read this properly, Clarence, as I was on alldlls.com, and I am a diehard, so I have access to all of the premium content, the diehard level content.
Good stuff in there.
Is Dak claiming it was not on the long run that he hurt his
Yes,
hamstring?
he's trying to claim it was not on the long run. And,
Uh-huh.
he said he may have felt it earlier. I mean, it's like this. You know how many times you replay something like that happens, you replay it over and over again in your mind.
Uh-huh.
And he wants to say it wasn't because he dropped the hammer for the first time all season and got hurt in the long run.
Uh-huh.
He
It
said
was on
may
a
have happened.
pocket move or a throw. I started to feel it.
Then he said it was like maybe all the other runs. Like, what are the runs? You didn't run before that.
That's actually more concerning to me than actually the long run causing it. Like if the long run didn't cause it,
just a weird tweak on an unexpected movement. It's just a
Jesse. No, just take this as a granted. Don't go. Just like Jerry trying to say that he has to sign Micah because he's worried about injuries. He just saying stuff.
Don't circumcise the mosquito.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, he just saying stuff, and I think Jack was just trying to justify. And you come up with when you lose your season, you got a whole offseason to think about what happened, what could I have done right, what could I have done differently to prevent this from happening. And no one wants to say I got hurt running.
So Clarence,
No
what are you?
football player wants to say that, huh?
What are you on today? What are you on the prowl for? Because I know we all training camp differently. Like I love nerding it up and watching position groups and talking about certain things. But I know you are a headline, big names, talk to the folks person. What are you hunting?
And not them auntie with the thick thighs.
It's Micah. Come on, sir. Is Micah going to actually be out there? What's he going to do? Is he going to even talk to us? What's he going to say? He responds to J.J. Watt. He going to respond to Jerry personally? I mean,
is he there though? That's the question. Like, has anyone
I have not seen him?
Is it
they
like
say he's here? Jerry and certainly Shotty spoke yesterday like he's here. I'm glad he's here. So like they've seen him. I have not seen him. He was not out there stretching with the team yesterday. So yeah, that's one thing we want to see if he's here. But again, it's OTAs all over again. They're not in pads yet. What is there to see on the first day of practice other than who's available?
I will say, and we'll go through some of this stuff as the show goes on, Clarence, but I am still interested because, for instance, Savone Revel, third round pick, who I think the Cowboys are going to end up having high hopes for, and some people thought
NFI.
certainly could have been picked higher if he wasn't hurt. On NFI, that's the non-football injury list, which means that he
and who said this? Jesse, I want to make sure we understand who talked about Rebel not being ready.
Is he taking shots at Joe Hoyt right now?
Even though somebody tried to say I've talked to him for 20 minutes and he's gonna be good to go.
You're so petty. You're so
hold on, because we'll revisit.
I'm just saying
you
though.
are so
My only
petty.
point.
Why are you taking a shot at our boy Joe?
My only point was you cannot say these guys are going to be ready for the start of camp and be at their best. That's all I was saying.
Okay, here's Jeff pulling back curtain. Okay, Clarence, and I'm going to finish my thought on Revel and remind me that it has to do with Deron Bland. Hold on, remind me that it has to do with Deron Bland. But we heard, I think, John playing and editing and putting together what you did with Pat Doney yesterday for our website and our YouTube page. And we heard in the background who was counting you down to go live and holding the camera. And it was Joe Hoyt that goes 3, 2, 1. Don't you go out there and take shots at Joe. He doesn't even work here anymore. You're still putting him to work.
Joe, hey, listen, Joe still got to carry them pads, huh? Get those pads, Rook. Get those pads, Rook.
So happy.
Hey, when you're on my team, you're always on my team.
But anyway, like I am interested today.
Savone Revel has to do with Diggs.
Has to do with Bland?
Bland, sorry.
Like Revel's not ready. Where does Deron Bland line up? Does he get to stay home? Is he going to be outside? Are they going to be messing around with him in the slot? Because like now we're talking about a season that starts in 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks or whatever, and guys that aren't ready, and where are people going to be lined up? So I'm at least interested in the where are they, and maybe it's just Bland where it's where are they, and the rest of it's like, are we splitting reps, or is everybody's job just everybody's job? Those are things I'm looking for.
And before you answer, I think that's what's the difference between OTAs and minicamp and training camp. Like there is no more, we're trying guys out. We're seeing things like even though there aren't pads on yet, we're guys line up today. And you heard Shadi say, he says, as far as installs, we're going back to the beginning. Our first install from OTAs and minicamp will be OTAs and minicamp will be our first install for training camp. But we're not rotating guys in and out. Like we're marching, we're marching towards the season. So every rep, because everything, as you know, you don't have as many practices. You can't be out there all day long. So time is very limited at this point in time. And we have to get closer to being as fine-tuned as we possibly can for the season. So while we won't see physical gifts and traits early on in training camp, you will know who is lining up where and how that works out.
No doubt. And you get to see that. And so, obviously we're waiting for the pass to come on. But again, it's T-shirts and shorts. Yeah, where they line up is important. But, Michael being out there, that's going to get the cameras. And Jerry having a talk with him in the middle of the field, in the middle of practice while everybody's doing drills. I mean, those are the sort of things that I'm looking for.
Dro Nose is looking for Jay Toya updates daily. 7th round pick, nose tackle, coming for Mozzie Smith's snaps, okay? You keep a sharp eye on Jay Toya.
Right on that.
What number does Jay Toya wear? Where did Zeke go to college? Clarence, you're a beast. How much do they hate Trayvon Diggs? Well, why did they throw Terrence Steel under the bus when they were talking?
I would just look at attitude reflect leadership. You talk about, why do you throw Trayvon Diggs? And he just volunteered. We were talking about Micah, and he just dumped Trayvon Diggs in there. We were going to ask about Trayvon Diggs, but he volunteered Trayvon Diggs, and and then threw Terrence Steel under the bus. That was just crazy. It was unnecessary. Sometimes, listen, we love to hear him talk, but he can tie himself up in the knots and puts himself in these situations.
Yep, and the parcipitals that are dangling, you always got to keep an eye on. Clarence,
and how many times did he bring up Netflix? He is
3.
I don't want to throw him in the past, but he kept bringing up Netflix. You're gonna see in this documentary. You see, he likes talking about Netflix and Landman.
Oh, what I want you to do, also, I'm gonna put you on the trail list too. Is there going to be a premiere party here for the Netflix special?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up. It looks like the premiere party is going to be in L.A.
In L.A.
Working on that. In L.A.
Of course, there's a party.
I need dates.
So you need to make sure when you come for camp, if it's that week, bring your tux.